Hey there, 479, 579. I hope that your week is off to a great start. Welcome to week 5. As promised, this is just a brief overview to help you get started and to know what to expect this week. I want to first say that everyone is doing a fantastic job. Keep up the great work. We are almost there. This is our last week of a lot of new content. Next week we will be focusing on wrapping up the term and final projects. Graduate students, if you haven't had a chance, be sure to look at your final project that's posted. You will be creating an action plan and a presentation on many of the key terms that we've explored this term. All right, so the focus of week 5 is to continue to explore controversies, trends, and specific issues with treatment approaches for the autistic community, including ABA, or Applied Behavior Analysis, and FC, or Facilitated Communication. Now, there are many controversies and trends and issues in the field of autism. These are the two that we're going to do a deeper dive into this week. So I have several readings for you by the end of the week on ABA, Applied Behavior Analysis, including different sources. So the first is Autism Speaks, and then we're looking at a piece from ASAN, the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. So we're looking at a balance of what more of a medical lens, professional lens says, and then what the autistic community says as we dive into these controversies. We're looking at perspectives from Lydia Brown, the Autistic Hoya Scholar, and Robin Mosingo. We watched one of her TED Talks earlier this term. We're going to also explore facilitated communication. We're going to start with 2 more research-based articles about facilitated communication that really focus on disproving this as a practice for folks in the autistic community. And then I'd like for you to really focus on this reading, this interview with Amy Sequencia about facilitated communication. She is someone who identifies as nonverbal autistic, and she used facilitated communication to learn how to communicate. And so it's really important as we look at these controversies and we look at practices or evidence-based practices that we have a balanced approach and learn from the autistic community or disabled community, the communities that we're serving, to see their perspectives and to listen to their voices. And so when you read these 2 articles about FC, you'll find that it has been widely disproven as an evidence-based practice for the autistic community. However, when you learn from the autistic community, voices like Amy Sequencia, she will say that that was how she learned to communicate, and that there is a lot of value in this practice. And so as we approach this field, it's really critical for us to look at multiple perspectives as we make decisions in our own teaching or in our own careers about how we approach these different practices that we're looking at. This case on Anna Stubblefield came out several years ago, and it's a very fascinating, interesting read. A professor from Rutgers was working with one of her students' brothers who identified as nonverbal and having cerebral palsy, and she taught him facilitated communication. They developed a relationship that turned into a romantic relationship, and the family was very supportive of it, until it turned into a sexual relationship, and she was charged with sexual assault, and it turned into a very contested court case in the autistic community and in the disability community, and a lot of the support was in these types of empirical-based studies, like the systematic review that you're going to look at, but really took the human elements out of that class and the voice from the disabled community out of that case completely. So it's a really interesting read, and I encourage you, especially for this week's discussion, to look at your own research on applied behavior analysis and facilitated communication. I didn't mention that we're also going to look at the Judge Rotenberg Center that uses very, very strict ABA therapy in their programming, their treatment for individuals with autism, including shock therapy. And so it's a program that still runs today and has a lot of controversy. All right, so as always, you'll have a weekly discussion, and we'll be focusing on these readings as well as your own independent research on ABA and facilitated communication. I'd like for you to look at discrete trial training, which is a type of practice and applied behavior analysis for your weekly activity, your 5th weekly activity. And then we're going to watch the documentary Wretches and Jabberers for your weekly application assignment. Please check in with any questions that you have. I hope that you have a fantastic week and keep up the really great work. Thank you and take care.